Hey y'all, what's up? My name's Maddie, and welcome to the very beginning of my beauty YouTube channel. So, for this, my very first video on this channel, I'm just gonna do a quick little get ready with me, tell you a little bit about myself, tell you a little bit about this channel and why I'm starting it and what I want it to be, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about my no-buy plans for the next coming months. So, if that sounds good to you, let's just go ahead and get right into it. So I'm going to try my best to remember to tell you what products I'm using while I'm doing this get ready with me. But if I get distracted by talking, I will leave everything I'm using in the description box. So if I forget to mention it, just check that out. First, I'm going to go ahead and do my brows off camera because I cannot talk and do my brows at the same time, but I'm going to be using the Essence Make Me Brow. I'm working on panning this, so be right back. Okay, brows are done, so now we can actually get into it. Like I said, my name is Maddie. I am a third-year medical student right now, so going to school to be a doctor. I am 24 years old. I live in my apartment, me and my beautiful cat Tiger, as evidenced by this magnificent palace I bought for him. I am currently about to start my internal medicine rotation. I will be starting that tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. after being on vacation for a couple of months. So it's gonna take some getting used to going back to that. Let's see what else. I am a huge lover of makeup and beauty. I have been a makeup fan ever since I was a little girl. I danced when I was little, so I started learning how to apply makeup at a really early age. And I just fell in love with it. And my love for beauty products has sort of waxed and waned over the years. But it really came back in full force around 2016 when I started college. I got really, really deep into the beauty community. I started building a collection of makeup that is my pride and joy, my prized possessions. I love my beauty collection so very much. That being said, I also have a lot of it, more than any normal person should or can ever use. I mean, I've seen beauty people get on YouTube and say, oh, my collection is way too big for a normal person, and I have like double that many of whatever product they're talking about. And, I don't necessarily feel guilty about that because, like I said, it's a collection that I engage in because I love beauty. I feel like a lot of it is collector's items for me. And so I get enjoyment out of having them. And so, I feel like in this kind of culture that we have going on the internet, especially in the beauty space, there's a lot of pressure to like declutter your collection. And it's a good thing to do, but at the same time, if you love it, keep it. So I have been building this collection and really enjoying and utilizing what I have, but only to a certain extent because I feel like I have this sort of relationship with makeup where I want to try products more than I want to use products. And I'll get a little bit more into that when I talk about why I'm going on a no-buy for the beginning of this year. But this sort of gets me into why I'm starting this channel, right? So I am starting this channel because I have more makeup than I know what to do with. And I want to start finding ways to dive into my collection more and see it and use it in ways that I haven't before. By the way, I'm using the Nabla Cupid's Arrow in shade 1. I just really want to start exploring my collection and, thinking about it in new ways and challenging myself to, do some of these like tag videos and create new looks and maybe teach something new. That's another thing that I'm very passionate about is helping people who are getting into beauty for the first time really learn the ropes because we all started somewhere, right? And I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm a professional by any stretch of the imagination, but I've practiced a lot and I've improved a lot over the years. And so I get what it's like to be at your starting point and wanting to move forward in makeup and learn something. So that's another reason. And the next reason is a little bit more specific to my life as a med student. And that's that I really want to work on improving my sort of work life balance. It's gotten a little bit out of hand in the sense that when I come home from the hospital or clinic or wherever I was that day, I come home and immediately I start studying. Because, for those of you who don't really know much about medical school, which, is probably most people, we still have exams to take. We don't learn everything that we need to know by being on the wards. You learn a lot that way, but you don't learn everything that you need to know to do well on the exams that are going to, allow you to proceed to the next step of your journey or career. So we still have to study for those exams. And so I have this tendency to come home, study, and then essentially just study until I have to go to sleep, because I have to go to sleep at like 10 p.m. to get up at 5:30 the next morning and go back to the hospital. So I've created this sort of toxic cycle with myself, and I really need to sort of enforce something to interrupt that cycle. And I think that giving myself a different responsibility, one that I'm excited about, right? Like this channel I'm excited to do, but if I give myself a different responsibility, a responsibility to do something that I love, a responsibility to enrich my personal life, I think that that will be really beneficial for me in developing a better work-life balance. I've always had this sort of, perfectionistic relationship with academics. I mean, why else would I go to med school? I get a lot of, my personal validation and, happiness from succeeding academically. And I want to start trying to back away from that relationship with the academic system that I'm in, and really start viewing it for what it is, which is, or what it's going to be ultimately, which is a job. You come home and then you get to unwind a little bit. And yeah, there's still some stuff you need to do when you get home, but for the most part, it's a job. So yeah, essentially, I just want to use this as an opportunity to kind of force myself to do something I like with my time. Which sounds silly, like you shouldn't have to force yourself to do something you like, but I feel like there's also a lot of guilt that comes with being heavy into academics. I just used a little bit of the shadows from the Wet n Wild color icon in Nude Awakening. And now I'm going to use my all-time favorite single shadow, which is Colourpop Ritz. But as I was saying, I feel like there's a lot of guilt that comes along with medical training, especially, the student level, because I feel like we all feel this need to be doing more and to be studying more and volunteering more and shadowing more and just doing more. And I think it's still important to keep a handle on the fact that we're people. And that's a good thing. Everybody wants their doctor to be a person first, right? And so I think that I need to start really embracing that and finding things that I love to do with my time outside of being at the hospital and doing work. And I'm excited to make beauty a big part of how I spend that time. Next, I'm going to go ahead and go in with the Urban Decay Stay Naked Hydromaniac foundation. I'm not going to do any primer or anything just because I already have sunscreen on. So, all of that being said, I have sort of aspired to start a channel for a long time, and for a variety of reasons, a lot of them being sort of what I was just talking about, but I just feel like I've always convinced myself that I don't have the time because I need to focus on school. And like I've been saying, that focus on school all of the time can start to become really toxic and draining. And, I find myself starting to just dread every day because I don't want to spend all day, all of my time on this material. And it's not that I don't love it. I do. I wouldn't be here if I didn't love it. But when it's all that you spend your time on, it's draining. And so I need some better balance. I need to take a step back and really focus on, making myself a more well-rounded person. I'm gonna use a little of the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I want to be a more well-rounded person. When somebody asks me, what do I do in my free time, I don't want to answer that with, I study. Which right now would be the answer to that question. Honestly, I study. And that's not good for me as a person. And I feel like one of the things that I'm trying to start learning and teaching myself is that I can learn the information that I need, and I can dedicate the time that I want to dedicate to my learning and my improvement as a future medical professional, and I can do all of that and not have it consume every waking moment of my day. I'm trying to make this part of a project of doing more for myself. I'm committing to getting back into yoga because I really love doing that. I'm just trying to find ways to make commitments to myself that aren't all school related. Just applying some of my Milk Makeup Cream Bronzer. I want to talk a little bit more about my no-buy plans that I have for the coming months. So my plan going into 2023 is to be on a complete makeup no-buy. No makeup, no skincare except for replacing things that I run out of, and no clothing or accessories, shoes, purses, all of that stuff. None of that for at least the first quarter of the year. The reason I decided on the first quarter is because generally, and this is where I get into sort of the exception, generally Ulta does 21 Days of Beauty at the end of March, beginning of April, and a lot of times there are things on that sale that I want to restock on or that I want to buy backups of because I do actually go through some of my makeup. It's hard to believe the collection the size that I have, but occasionally I do go through a product. So I want to be able to leave myself open to taking advantage of an opportunity that only comes around a couple of times a year, and a lot of times the products that are on there will never be on there again. And I'm not trying to make myself go from buying all of this makeup to buying absolutely no makeup ever. And I will admit that my weakness is sales. If something is on sale, I convince myself that, oh, this is the best deal you're ever gonna get. It's never gonna be this good again, and you have to buy it right now or you're gonna miss out on the deal. Which, again, is part of why I'm doing the no-buy, because I want to get out of that habit. It's not a healthy way to consume anything. Another one of the reasons that I want to go on this no-buy, I'm using the Milani Cheek Kiss Liquid Blush in the shade Nude Flush. Another reason that I want to go on this no-buy is because I have more makeup right now than I can effectively use. And every time I buy a new thing, it contributes to this sense of, like, analysis paralysis, where I go to pick out my makeup for the day and I just stand there because I'm just overwhelmed by the number of choices that I have. And, there are things that I've had for a long time that I'm not even entirely sure how I feel about them because I haven't had enough chances to use them. Because, as a person who goes to the hospital most days of the week, I wear a mask all day and I get up at 5:30 in the morning. I don't really wear that much makeup on the day-to-day during the school season. So I end up just kind of letting my makeup collect dust. I try to sort of utilize it as sort of a passion project. I have what Hannah Louise Poston, who is one of my inspirations for this whole thing, calls makeup playtime. And I will, go in my bathroom and put on a full face of makeup just for fun. and then wash it all off again. Just to play with my collection because it's what I love to do. But I can only do so much of that, once again, when I am coming home and allowing myself to just study, and then go to sleep. So this is going to help me in a number of ways to utilize my collection, in the sense that I will be dedicating my time to it and dedicating myself to not bringing in more new items. Additionally, especially this past semester, as I was starting clinicals, which for people who don't really get med school lingo, clinical rotations are where the students actually go into the hospital and essentially are on the job, and that's how we're learning. For the first 2 years of my med school anyway, we were doing classroom learning, and so now we're doing real life learning on the job. And especially as I got into clinicals and starting a brand new way of learning, and, it's stressful. You're constantly switching between specialties, between subspecialties. You're switching residents, you're switching attendings. I just used the e.l.f. Halo Glow setting powder just under my eyes. And it's stressful, and so I feel like one of the ways I started coping with that stress is by buying even more stuff than I was before. And now I've sort of landed in a place where I spent a whole lot of money last semester on things that I had no need for, and a lot of the time have had no use for, because I'm in the hospital every day. So I'm trying to use this as an opportunity to sort of reset my purchasing habits, to sort of revert to a time when I was less stressed. And I know that the stress isn't going away, but I need to find other ways to cope with the stress that aren't buy, makeup, clothes, shoes, etc. I'm just going to set my whole face a little bit with the Becca Light Shifter finishing powder. They don't sell this anymore, sorry. So yes, another reason that I want to do this no-buy is for my spending habits, which is why it may or may not extend beyond the current plan of the first quarter, with the exception of 21 Days of Beauty. So my thought right now is there's a very real chance that I will get to 21 Days of Beauty. I'm going to set a number of products for myself that I am allowed to buy. I haven't decided what that number is going to be yet, but I'm going to set a specific number of products that I'm allowed to buy. I cannot exceed that number, and then there's a good chance that I will resume the no-buy until the end of 6 months, because that is, I feel, a more realistic amount of time to expect my brain to really reset my habits. Hannah Louise Poston has talked about her no-buy year a lot, and if for some reason you don't know who Hannah Louise Poston is, you gotta check out her channel. She's amazing, and she's a huge inspiration for this whole project, like I said. But she said that it took her about 6 months into her no-buy year to really stop craving buying new things. So there's a good chance that I will extend it, but we will see where I'm at in 3 months. I'm going to use this number 7 bronzer in the shade Golden Sand. Another reason that I have for wanting to do this no-buy project is I want to start analyzing new makeup releases with a little bit more of a critical eye. With an eye towards reasoning why I shouldn't purchase them instead of reasoning why I should. I want to try to replicate what I might get from those releases with the products that I already have. And, again, not to bring up Hannah Louise Poston again, but she does that all the time, like with her Duping the Vibes series and things like that. I want to get more into doing that as well. Because, again, I do have such an extensive collection, and I know that I could get a very similar experience from products that I already have every time, essentially, a new product comes out. But like I was saying before, a lot of the problem there is that I generally like to try products more than I like to use products. And I need to get myself out of that mindset. That's not to say that I'll, never try new products, or that something won't come out that I think is legitimately unique to my collection. It's just that I need to get into the habit of the understanding that just because something is on sale does not mean that you have to try it, even if the people on the internet talk about it all the time, even if you're just really, really curious because it looks like a shade you may or may not already have, or because it gets talked about on TikTok, you know, all those things. All of those reasons we convince ourselves that we need to buy. It's not healthy for me. And it's a habit I've gotten into that I'm really trying to kick. So my goal is to get out of the mindset of trying and into the mindset of using what I have and really getting joy and some mileage out of those products, because, you know, I already bought those products. I already have them sitting in my drawers. I should be using those and trying new things with those. I've heard a lot of talk on some channels that I watch. Kelly Gooch comes to mind. She made a video about all of the different ways you can use products that you already have. And I want to try some of those things. I want to mix products together. I want to do all those things without feeling this overwhelming urge to buy more stuff. This is the Buxom Primer Infused Blush in the shade Seychelles. So yes, all of those reasons are why I want to do this no-buy, and I'm excited for it, honestly. I think it's going to be hard. Last year I went on a no-buy for the month of January, and that was challenging enough. Going on a no-buy for this long is going to be challenging for me, especially since I do use it as sort of a coping mechanism for stress. And obviously, this is a very stressful time of my life. And it doesn't get less stressful going forward, you know? I have step 2 of my licensing exams coming up. I have residency applications just around the corner. And those are stressful things. But I need to learn to cope with stress by, if I want to cope with stress using makeup, using what I already have. It's a great coping mechanism. Makeup playtime is an awesome coping mechanism, and I use it like that all the time. It's like art to me. It's essentially like people who use drawing or painting as their coping mechanism for stress. Makeup is like that for me. So I really want to do more of that and less of buying new stuff to try. I also want to do more yoga, do more sort of quiet, introspective means of coping with stress. By the way, the highlighter I used was the Jaclyn Cosmetics highlighter in the shade Iced. I'm going to throw on some of my Thrive liquid lash extensions. I can't talk and do mascara, so be right back. Alright, mascara's on. I also went ahead and popped a little bit of this Sigma Inner Rim Brightener in my waterline. So with that done, we are just about done here. I'm going to pop on my Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat in the shade Pillow Talk. And I know I kind of rambled a lot in this video. I promise that I intend to have more structured videos going forward. You know, potentially the occasional get ready with me or vlog if there's anything interesting going on, but I'll be honest with you, most of my days look pretty similar. It's part of the game in medical school. Using the BareMinerals Lip Gloss-Balm in the shade Serenity. So that's it, just quick, easy look, just going out running some errands. But I know that this was kind of a jumbled up, rambly mess, but I really wanted to sit down and get my thoughts out about what this channel is, who I am, and why I'm doing this, and why I'm so excited about it. So I hope that if you are excited too and you made it to the end of this video, please hit like and subscribe down below, because my next plan is to do a series of videos covering my entire collection. So I'm going to go through every category, show you everything I have. There might be a smidge of decluttering along the way. No promises though. So all of that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one very soon. Bye.